What'd you sew this week? What did you make? Hello, I'm Kristen, also known as Voolenvine, here on my YouTube channel, on Instagram, on Ravelry, and pretty much everywhere else on the interwebs. And as always, I'm so happy that you're taking some time out of your day to chat about all the knitting, all the sewing, all the making, or whatever crafty rabbit hole I happen to be diving down this week. And yes, I have another fun show for you guys. Hopefully it's fun. I have some works in progress to share with you. I have some sewing to share with you, and quite a few announcements to share with you as well. So let's get that out of the way before we get into what I've been making this week. Yes, this weekend is Rhinebeck. Rhinebeck. Yeah, so I guess the bad news first. Unfortunately, I will not be going to Rhinebeck this year. I know I mentioned that I would be going up on Saturday. Dennis and I would just be driving up for the day. However, as it turns out, if you've been following the podcast, you know that Dennis has been studying, my husband, he's been studying like crazy for these architecture exams, and he has to schedule these exams like several months in advance. So long story short, when he scheduled his next exam a couple months ago, he inadvertently scheduled it for Rhinebeck weekend. I know. And to remedy this, so this does not happen again in the past, I'm going to tattoo all Yarn Festival dates on his forearm in his sleep, so it just doesn't happen again. I'm kidding. While I was really looking forward to meeting up with friends, meeting customers and podcast viewers, truth be told, I was kind of hoping to take it a little easy this year. I've been going to Rhinebeck every single year for the past, probably 10 years, maybe more. And I was just feeling maybe this year I might just take a little bit of a breather. So I think it worked out for the best. Of course, I'm really going to miss seeing all of you who are going, and I will definitely be living vicariously through all of your posts on Instagram. I know I will definitely be missing out on a really good time. But I am going to New England Fiber Festival in 2 weeks' time, so I have that to look forward to. There is plenty fiber in my future to look forward to, and I am definitely going to Vogue Knitting Live. I was telling some friends, like, if I don't make it at least to Vogue Knitting Live, there's something seriously wrong. I live in New York, so yeah, and it's like a train right away, so not that bad. But I will be attending New England Fiber Festival and Vogue Knitting Live, and yes, same thing applies. If you see me wandering around, by all means, please do come up and say hello. It would be lovely to meet you. But yeah, I will be going up to New England Fiber Fest that Saturday. I'll be with my friend Tanya, and I cannot wait. So that is announcement number one. Announcement number two is that we have another knit-along happening over in the Voolenvine Yarns, not the Voolenvine Yarns, the Voolenvine Ravelry group. I have two Ravelry groups, one for Voolenvine Yarns, my hand-dyed yarn company, and one for Voolenvine the podcast. However, I rarely post in the Voolenvine Yarns thread. I think going forward I'm going to consolidate both groups, so things are just easier to find and for me to manage. So side note, thinking out loud right there. But yes, we do have a new knit-along to celebrate the release of my shawl pattern, the Stoker shawl, which I just released last Friday? Yeah, it was last Friday. So thank you so much to everybody for receiving it so well, all the awesome feedback I've been getting, and your excitement to cast on. I'm seeing so many beautiful Stoker shawls pop up on Ravelry. If you go to the projects page or the pattern page on Ravelry, you can click on projects and see all the wonderful colors that people are choosing, and yarns and fibers. My favorite part of designing patterns is just seeing all the different interpretations of it. And if you're not familiar, let me put my coffee down. Where'd my shawl go? Here it is. So this is Stoker. I designed this pattern. It's a triangular shawl. It has bobbles going down the center spine, and it has tassels, which are completely optional, but I think it adds a fun element. And this has been getting quite a lot of wear. And this is my hand-dyed yarn, Voolenvine Yarns, on my Smitten DK base in the Stoker colorway. It just had to be done. So anyway, without going on for too long about this, yeah, I am hosting a 2-month-long knit-along it kicked off when, you know, it kicked off when the pattern was released, and it's going all the way through, I think November. I'll pop it in the down bar, but I think November or December 1st, I think it is. Yeah, so 2 months. So yeah, hop on over there. The only guidelines to join are that you have to knit the Stoker shawl and just participate in the thread. And then on December 1st, I will lock the thread and choose a winner using random number generator and do a giveaway prize. So what else did I want to say? Oh, I did put out a bobble tutorial. I know I said before this was even published that I was planning on doing a bobble tutorial. However, I never got around to doing it, and I just put a written instructions for doing the bobble. However, there were some of you that were experiencing or having a hard time understanding how to get your bobbles to pop away from the fabric. So I created a quick little tutorial also here on the YouTube channel, and I'll link to it on the top of the screen so you can easily check it out. But yeah, some bobble choking might be involved, so just a little heads up about that. But yeah, so just FYI to give you guys a little heads up about that in case you want to join along. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm trying to think what else. We do have some other knit-alongs that are happening over in the Voolenvine Ravelry group. There's the Box of Socks knit-along, there's the Year of the Garment knit-along. Those are year-long knit-alongs, which are coming to a close January 1st, 2020. And then we have the Practical, which is a 6-month-long knit-along that is coming to a close March 1st of 2020 as well. So yeah, lots of fun inspiration happening over there. Definitely check it out if any of those titles strike your fancy. Truth be told, I'm a little bit behind on keeping up with some of those threads, so I do have to make a point at some point during this week or this weekend to dip in and see all of your, catch up with all of your beautiful makes that are happening in there. And yeah, as I mentioned last week, I finished my Mazzy cardigan that I finished by Elizabeth Smith. So that's been getting a lot of wear since I bound that off. I think that is it for announcements. Sorry if that was very long-winded, but just some important information that I feel like I had to cover before getting on with the show. But without further ado, just a quick word from my amazing sponsor, Skillshare, before I get into what I've been making. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes in design, business, tech, and more, even sewing and the fiber arts. I love learning new things when it comes to knitting, sewing, photography, or whatever crafty rabbit hole I happen to be diving down. And because I know you love learning new things too, I partnered up with Skillshare, and they are offering my viewers 2 months free to try their platform. So give Skillshare a go and learn something new. Just click on the link in the description box below, entering the code at checkout, and enjoy! And thanks, Skillshare! And welcome back. Alright, as far as my Nightingale pullover, a pattern by Drogon, I have not put a dent in that since I last showed it to you last week. That was supposed to be my Rhinebeck sweater, and then I came to my senses and realized there's no way I would have it done in time, not even going to Rhinebeck this year, so right now it is just a project that I'm working on and enjoying at my leisure. Yeah, and when the weekend rolled around, I really just needed something mindless, something that I could just, and color, that was the key to choosing this pattern, because I had just finished knitting my Mazzy cardigan, which if you're not familiar, it's a black cardigan. I was craving a little bit of color in my life. Can you blame me? So I hopped on Ravelry, and I saw this pattern was on my radar when it first came out, but once I saw it come up on Ravelry, I immediately thought of some scrap yarn in my stash, and the fade, the planets aligned, and I was like, I have to make this project happen. And that is the Le Pouf cardigan by Beata Jezik of Hedgehog Fibers. And here's where I am. I've made quite a bit of progress after casting this on over the weekend. I've already separated the sleeves, and I'm already well into the body. And yeah, it's just, I will pop a photo in the sidebar so you know what the full thing looks like. But yeah, it's just a simple cardigan, open cardigan, no buttons at all. It's a fade, but the main awesome detail are the puffed sleeves. So simple sleeves, and then it balloons out, and mushrooms out into the cuff, if that makes any sense. You'll see it in the photo. But I don't know, like normally I'm not one to follow the trends, but lately the puffed sleeve business that I'm seeing popping up in fashion, I'm here for this, guys. I'm all about the puffed sleeves. I don't know if you can tell. I will talk more about this later in the episode, but yeah, the Pouf cardigan. Let me talk about the fabric, or the yarn, I should say. So this lighter color up here is Aimee in her dusk colorway. And then it fades into some yarn that I purchased at India Entangled last year. Last year. At the Lamstring Yarns booth, and this is her Home Again colorway. It's just like this really beautiful gray with flecks of, I don't know, just multicolored flecks. A little out of my comfort zone, guys, but it just went so well with the Aimee. And then I'm actually running, I was running low on, this pattern actually eats up a lot of yarn because you're holding, you're actually holding 2 strands of single ply together, or 2 strands of fingering weight yarn together. So it almost creates a DK weight, and it didn't dawn on me, like, yeah, that's gonna eat up twice as much yarn as, one single skein. So as I was knitting it, I realized that this is how much of the Home Again, the lamb strings yarn that I have left. Like the pattern, it says that if you want to fade the same colors into the sleeves, you should set aside 50 grams, so half a whole skein of yarn to fade the sleeves. And this is, I want to say, about 25 grams. Clearly not as much as the pattern requires, but you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay if the fade is just a little shorter than the body fade. But yeah, so them's the breaks. And I did try to hunt down another skein, but I think her Home Again colorway was exclusive to the India Entangled trunk show. So yeah, I'm completely fine with that. But yeah, I started fading in the next colorway, another Aimee skein that I had that I purchased at Aimee in Paris when I went this year, because when a knitter goes to Paris, you have to go to Aimee. It's just, you have to make the pilgrimage. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, when I was there, I picked up a skein of her Drogon colorway. Funny story about this colorway, actually, because a couple of months ago, I had cast on a So Faded sweater by Andrea Mowry, and long story short, wasn't feeling the pattern, frogged it, and stored the caked up yarn in my scrap stash. And when I did cast on for that pattern, I separated each skein into 2 separate cakes, so I could alternate skeins and prevent pooling. And recently, I had done a de-stash, reorganized my stash, pulled everything out, donated some stuff, and what have you, and I could not for the life of me find the second cake of the Drogon colorway. So, and I already knit like a lot into the body, and I was like, I need to have this fade. This fade has to happen. So what do? You panic order some more yarn. And I realized, I knew that Brooklyn General, my local yarn store, is a stockist of Aimee. In fact, I think they're the only US stockist of Aimee. So I hopped on the website. Lo and behold, they didn't have any of the Drogon colorway listed on their website. So I went to the Aimee website. They didn't have any listed in stock, and I went to another website in Finland. I can never remember how to pronounce this. TITITYY. I'll pop it in the down bar, but they came through. They had some in stock, so I panic ordered a skein of it, and to make the shipping worth my while, I actually bought a sweater quantities of another yarn that I can't easily purchase here in the States, which is Gilead yarn, and I've heard really good things about this, so I bought a whole sweater quantities worth to knit the Winter Sole by Jennifer Steingast. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to knitting with that as well, and again, totally justified it because I'm not going to Rhinebeck. I'm like, all right, well, we'll just spend my money elsewhere, put that budget to yarn that I can, procure from other places. So the next day, I was actually, I don't know why I just didn't hold out. I think because I was plowing through this cardigan so much, I was like, I want to make sure that I have this yarn because I want to finish it. However, the next day I met up with Mina and Amelia and Emily at Brooklyn General, and I figured, all right, they didn't have, I could have just called. And asked, but I didn't want to be that person. Like, if it's not on the website, when you go to a clothing store and they don't have your size, and you're that customer that goes up to the clerk and says, do you have any more of this in my size in the back room? What is the back room? I'm going off on a totally different tangent here. But anyway, long story short. I met up with all those lovely ladies at Brooklyn General, and then I, did a little perusing, went to the Lobby Anime wall, and what do you know? They had Drogon in stock. And to prove what a nut I am, I purchased another skein. So I have 2 skeins of Drogon coming in. I will have 2 skeins of Drogon in my life, because you know that voice in your head that says, well, what if when the other skein gets here, the dye lots just don't match up? There's this fear. There's this fear that the dye lots won't match up. So I purchased another skein. And they only had 3 skeins left, so, whatever. I don't know. I'm glad that I have my bases covered now. Pun totally not intended. But yeah, and the dye lots are pretty bang on. So I think I'm gonna cake this up. I am gonna cake this up and continue knitting it into my cardigan. So yeah, and then if I have more yarn, I will have more yarn left over. That skein will go into a Stephen West shawl, I'm pretty sure. Or some other, pattern that requires colors, multiple colors. Yeah. So welcome to my world of crazy, guys. Yeah. But that said, that is the story behind my Pouf cardigan. Such a simple cardigan, but such a rich story behind it. But yeah, really, really loving it, guys. I hope to have this done. It's gonna get a lot of wear, I think. The colors are exactly what my soul needed after finishing a completely black cardigan and then proceeding to cast on another solid color pullover. I really was craving some color. And I will hold this up so you can see all the really pretty colors happening in here. Yeah, so... yeah, no. I'm trying to think what else I wanted to say about this other than really enjoying it. Very simple, very intuitive, obviously. It's just pure stockinette, knit back and forth, holding 2 strands of yarn together, and I'm using US size 6 needles, 4.0mm. Did not swatch because I live on the edge and hate swatching. So, and it's a cardigan. It's not supposed to be very fitted. So yeah, I'm not concerned about fit all too much. Yeah, just really looking forward to having another cardigan in my life. So yes. The other thing that I picked up is the last issue of Laine Magazine, or Laine Magazine. It's their autumn-winter 2019. Unfortunately, I think this is going to be their last issue that they put out, which is really, really sad because I really enjoy all the patterns that they have. I don't have all of their issues. One day I hope to amass all the volumes because it's just such a beautiful, beautiful magazine, beautiful photography, patterns. Yeah, and I'm just glad that I got my mitts on the last copy and the like, so definitely check it out. I haven't really had a chance to sit through and figure out which patterns I want to make, but these mittens are really cozy looking. I think I might have to cast these on. Those are the Floria mittens by Becky Sorensen. Hi, Becky. I did not realize that. Congratulations. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that flew under my radar. I have no idea, but congratulations, Becky. You made it into Lina. And then yeah, I can't pronounce this. Riste by Joanna. I'm totally butchering these names, by Alex Bird, and it's absolutely beautiful. And then these socks look so cozy. So it's almost very accessory heavy, I want to say, but really beautiful, simple, understated patterns that I could totally see casting on. Yeah, so see if you can get your mitts on this copy. Yes, and I believe that is it for acquisitions. The other thing that came back into my life, I should say, I remember, if you remember a couple weeks ago, I mentioned that I spun up some yarn, and then after soaking it and thwacking it, it turned into yarn barf. I don't know how it happened. I know how it happened. I did not properly tie the skein before soaking it, and I showed it off on the podcast as yarn barf. And first, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who reached out, offering to untangle the yarn for me. Bless you people who have the patience and find joy in untangling things. I am not that person. But yeah, it meant so much to everyone who reached out to me. I did I did end up sending the skein to Sharon, a good friend of mine who I met at Rhinebeck many years ago. I would say many years ago. It's, you know, when I first went to Rhinebeck. She was one of the first yarn friends that I met there, and you know, we've stayed in touch ever since. And you know, she reached out to me and she's like, I will totally untangle your skein for you. So I gladly sent it her way. And if you're not familiar, Sharon has the Knit Style Yarn podcast. She hosts it with her husband, Rich. Hello, if you're watching. And she so wonderfully untangled my yarn barf. And it is absolutely... I cried when I opened when I opened the package from her. I was just like, it's so beautiful. My spinning, I mean, it's not perfect, but the way she prepared it and everything, it just looks so pretty. And this is fiber by Hobbledehoy, and I spun it up on my electric eel wheel nano, which I need to give a little love to this weekend, I think. But yeah, unfortunately, Hobbledehoy is not I think she shut down her Etsy store, unfortunately. So which is really unfortunate, because she's a really talented fiber artist, and she created bats and bumps and all that wonderful fiber goodness. Yeah, so I'm really happy that I was able to, or Sharon was able to salvage this for me, and she sent me a couple of other goodies. So yeah, I'm so going to enjoy knitting. I think I'm going to hold it together with another yarn, and maybe like a pair of mittens, because this is super soft. And yeah, Sharon, thank you so much. And again, to everybody who offered to untangle the yarn for me. Yeah, it really does mean a lot. And yeah, so so happy. Yeah, and I feel like I am totally all over the place today, guys. I did not get a good, I don't know what it is about Wednesday nights. I do not sleep well on Wednesday nights. Maybe it's anticipation of recording a podcast. I don't know. But I wake up in the middle of the night and I just can't get back to sleep. Hence the bags under my eyes, which hopefully I covered up with makeup pretty well. But there's no way of telling. And at this point, I really just don't care. We're just going to roll with it. So anyway, that is what coffee is for in my owl mug that I love so much. So next up on the docket is something that I probably should have mentioned in the announcements, but Voolenvine Yarns, my hand-dyed yarn company, is coming upon 5 years. I'm celebrating my 5-year anniversary as a full-time dyer and boss lady, running my own show, and I can't believe it. 5 years, yay! So thank you so much, as ever, to all of my customers and people who have supported me along the way. I couldn't think of a better way to, I mean, I'm sure there are many ways to celebrate by giving you all puppies under your sofas or wherever you're watching right now. But unfortunately, it's impossible. I would love to do that, but I can't do that. So what I can do is dye a colorway, a limited edition colorway to celebrate. I don't know, I might make this a regular, I haven't decided, but I dyed for now, it's a limited edition colorway for my shop called, are you ready for it? Voolenvine number 5. Because 5 years, and here it is. I'm going to be doing 2 giveaways, one on the YouTube channel and one on Instagram. I'm not going to be hosting the giveaway this week. I think I need another week to figure out logistics and everything, but just to give you guys a heads up, this is what is going to be offered up as the giveaway prize, and you know, I will again sign up for the newsletter, voolenvineyarns.com. There's a link to sign up for the newsletter, and I will fill you in on all the details about the giveaway there. And you can also follow me on Instagram. I will of course post details there as well when the time comes for when I want to do the giveaway. But yeah, it will be either at the end of October or beginning of November. And what else did I want to say? Oh, yeah, I'm gonna do a special episode, a special Q&A episode. I'm not gonna do a live stream. After thinking it through, pros, cons, I'm just gonna do a Q&A. So if you do have any questions right now, or you know, that you want me to answer on the special episode, just pop them down in the description box below, or the comments below, and I will consolidate some questions to answer on the podcast. I think I'm going to do a regular episode, but have a special Q&A section for those that are interested. So yeah, leave your questions below, and I'll open up the opportunity in the Voolenvine Ravelry group for questions as well. Just, you know, and on Instagram maybe, I don't know. So by next week, I will have all my ducks in a row about the giveaway stuff and the special episodes. So just FYI, yeah, I'm still working stuff out. But yes, giveaway prize. And yeah, I'm just, you know, super excited for 5 years. Yeah, so it's exciting. It's exciting. And thank you to everybody who's left me a message on Instagram congratulating me. It means so much. So yeah, I'm trying to think. I think that is it for the fiber knitting content. I'm going to move along to sewing because I do have some sewing to share with you. And I'm wearing it. I'm wearing one of my newest creations, part of my practical wardrobe, I guess. And this is the Agnes top, a pattern by Tilly and the Buttons. And I have had a love-hate relationship with this pattern for quite some time. I think this was one of the first jersey projects I tried tackling, and I did not make the puff sleeves at first. I did the ruching right here in the front, and it was my first time working with elastic and zigzag stitches. It was a hot mess. So all those incarnations have sadly been either not wearable or donated. So, but I find now that I've had some experience sewing with jersey, I felt a little bit more confident to tackle this this pattern again, and I feel like I've arrived. I feel confident in my jersey sewing skills, although fitting is still an issue for me. So while it looks great from the front, I will stand up so you can see. Yeah, I did the ruched puff sleeves, which I didn't think I would actually like until this whole puff sleeve revolution just started happening in fashion. So I was like, you know what? I can make my own t-shirt with puff sleeves. And I did. But yeah, you'll see the one snafu in the back is a sagging neckline. And yeah, you know what? That doesn't bother me as much. It almost looks drapey, but I did figure out how to fix that when I make another version, because I will definitely be making another version of this. By Hand London actually has a tutorial where you, it's almost like doing a small bust adjustment. So basically you have your back pattern piece. You draw your seam allowance line at the waist, and then you cut a line straight down to the seam allowance at the waist, and then you pivot the pattern so it overlaps. Well, it depends, like if you need more fabric or less fabric. I need less fabric, about maybe 2 inches. So since I'm working with half the pattern, I'm just going to overlap the neckline by 1 inch. And then I just have to true up the neckline, tape things down, and Bob's your uncle. So yeah, I like saying Bob's your uncle. I don't know why. It's just so fun. So yeah, I'm gonna do that to the pattern and reattempt this this top, and hopefully have one in black. I would love one in black and gray. I have some fabric in my stash for it, so yes. Bella, wanna say hello? Oh, look who came to say hello. It's been a while since you've been on the podcast, babes. You wanna go down? Say hello first. Say hello. What'd you sew this week? What did you make? Nothing? All right, you don't belong on this podcast. I'll see you later. Yeah, it's been a while since Bella's been on the podcast, so, you know, she says hello. Yes, so where was I? Sewing, yes. So, yeah, this is, I'm trying to think what else I wanted to say about it. Yeah, I will say it's not, I wouldn't recommend it for beginners. I would say the version that does not incorporate the ruches is better for beginners, because it's fiddly. I'm not gonna lie. Even with this version, I was kind of struggling a little bit. And as for a beginner pattern, I would recommend the version without. There are different versions of this t-shirt. So there's the version with basic cap sleeves or long sleeves and just a simple scoop neck, and then there's the version with the ruching down the center and, you know, obviously the ruching down for the puff sleeves. And if you are a newbie sewist, new to jersey sewing, I would stick to just the simple basic t-shirt version before maybe dipping your toes into this. Unless you're adventurous, hey, you know, I say go for it. You learn from your mistakes. But if you are a little, you know, like apprehensive or just need a primer first, I would stick to the basic version if you're a newbie sewist, just to get your feet wet, if you know what I mean. Love this shirt, even though it has that little dip in the back. Normally my hair's down so nobody really sees it, and I'm gonna be wearing this during autumn, and wearing a shawl around it so nobody's gonna see that dip, and other than that, it fits great. I love it. And yeah, and I'm wearing it with my Zinnia skirt. I'm not sure if I showed this off on the podcast before, but this is my second Zinnia skirt that I made. It is a cotton linen blend. I think there might be a little bit of nylon in here. But yeah, it's just a simple, basic Zinnia skirt with buttons down the front. It has inseam pockets. And this probably gets the most wear out of any of my sewn garments, I want to say, because it's so versatile and pretty much goes with everything in my wardrobe. And I totally want to make another one. I really, really do. All right, that said, I am going to move along to the Blather segment, a segment where I chat about what's been happening in my life, should you care to stick around. But yeah, again, my shop update is happening this Saturday. I'm doing an international friendly update for those customers who can't make my normal shop update on Fridays, usually at 5 p.m., but my international ones are on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So again, you can always sign up to my newsletter to get the lowdown about what's going to be in the shop, colorways, bases, and all news surrounding Voolenvine yarns. And I hope you can make it. I will have Stoker kits, just not in the Stoker colorway. Those were pre-orders last week, so thank you to everybody who made a pre-order. Those are currently being dyed as quickly as I humanly can, so those will be in the mail to you shortly. But yeah, I will also have some other colorways in kit form for the Stoker shawl for those of you that are interested in other colorways. And that is it for shop update stuff. As far as life stuff, yeah, I am gonna take it easy this weekend. Again, unfortunately, I'm not going to Rhinebeck. But I'm so lucky that I got to meet up with Mina and Amelia, as I mentioned at the beginning, and Emily, just to kind of like catch up since they're in town. And I am also going to be able to catch up with Caroline, who's Dunder Knit and has the Knitting Vicariously podcast. So I'm going to catch up with her at some point next week, and I am so looking forward to that. Yeah, and I'm trying to think, yeah, and then fiber festivals. I am going to go to Vogue Knitting Live, that is for sure, and then New England Fiber Fest in a couple of weeks, so yeah. And then other than that, hopefully getting a kickstart on my Halloween costume, maybe banging out another practical addition to my wardrobe. I have a couple of patterns in mind. A lot, actually. I don't know if you go to my Pinterest board, I have a board where I just pin all the patterns that are on my radar, things that I want to make, and it's just a matter of deciding which one to make next. So there's that, and I'm trying to think what else. As I mentioned last week, I was still coming down from a Court of Thorns and Roses book hangover. Like, what do I read next? So thank you so much to everybody who's recommended some books to me. I have a whole new list of books that I can't wait to check out. However, having fallen down the Heaving Bosoms podcast rabbit hole, I'm kind of having fun, like, listening to all their back episodes. Like, there are some books that I've already listened to or read that I'm having fun just hearing their take on those books. And then I'm also listening to some other books that are kind of new to me. Tessa Dare is easily one of my favorite romance novelists. She does a lot of romantic historical comedy novels, so I always get a good chuckle from those. And I actually just listened to the Governess game that she wrote, and because they did an interview with Tessa Dare, so I'm like, all right, I better listen to the book, or listen to the audiobook so I know what they're talking about. It wasn't my favorite novel of hers. My favorite novel so far by her is A Week to Be Wicked, which she actually described in the podcast when she pitched it to her publisher. She's like, yeah, it's kind of like Pride and Prejudice meets Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. So, and after having listened to that audiobook, I was like, yes, that makes total sense. So anyway, I highly recommend that read if you are into that genre of things, genre of book. It's really entertaining, really fun, really light, and who doesn't love a good romance? I do. So yeah, I'm really having fun with that, listening to that podcast. But yeah, again, thank you so much to everybody who's recommended some novels to me, and yeah, I can't wait to get around to them. And yeah, Ellie, Lunar Chronicles. I'm gonna check them out. I'm gonna check them out. You remind me biannually, so you know I have to check them out at some point. So anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap things up there. So thank you as always for tuning in and hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please feel free to like and subscribe. I try to put out an episode every Friday for your viewing pleasure. And until then, happy knitting, happy sewing, happy making, and I'll see you next time. Bye!